Hey guys, what's up? If you're taking the course or if you're not taking the course, either way, I've had a ton of questions about pass protection, our pass protection scheme, how we protect, 6 and 7 man fronts with 5 linemen and a running back. So I thought I would make a video and just get this out to you guys. This is something that I think is a little bit unique, the way we do protection. So I thought that I would just make a video as opposed to trying to explain all of this in a blog post. So thank you guys for your questions and thank you guys for pointing this out and asking for this. So here we go. Let's get into protections. So first of all, if you don't have your playbook in front of you, you can see this is on page 94 of your playbook. So get that out, turn to it so you can mark it up, you can underline things, ask questions and whatnot. So definitely have that out in front of you. Here we go. I'm just going to kind of take you through the basics of protections, and then we're going to look at a few cut-ups and a few chalkboard type things as well, just to go through what we're trying to do. So let's just go through the basic idea of protection in this offense. So here we go. First of all, I want you guys to realize that we really only have one protection. Quick protection, drop back protection, they're the same. The only difference is we're not going to set as deeply with our linemen in the quick game as we do in the drop back game, but the schemes are the same. So we're not teaching two different protections. That way we don't have to practice two different protections, right? That's the key. Remember, what we're trying to do in this offense is be simple and be really efficient. So we have one protection scheme. That's it, okay? And then we have a sprint out protection as well. But our quick and our drop back protection are the exact same scheme. We're blocking the same people, okay? So as we go through some of the cut-ups, realize it doesn't really matter if we're running red or black or if we're running, H option or verticals. It's the same scheme for the lineman. That's really important, okay? Now the footwork, I'm going to leave this kind of up to you. What I like to teach, I teach a vertical set in the drop back game. Okay, so you can see point number 3 here is a vertical set in the drop back game where they're going to retreat 3 to 4 yards, post up on their inside foot. In the quick game, I teach 2 quick kick steps. You can let your offensive line experience with that. Maybe you like 3 kick steps in the vertical game, the drop back game. That's fine. I like the deep set, the 3 to 4 yard deep set, simply because it gives your linemen a chance to sort out blitzers. Okay, that's why I like to get those guys off of the line of scrimmage. Remember, your QB is going to drop 5 yards in the drop back game. Right, so he's in the shotgun already. He's going to drop 5 more yards. So we're at 9 yards-ish, and your linemen therefore have room to vertical set, okay? Now, as we get to number 4 and number 5 and number 6, really, they all go together, so I'll underline them all. What we're going to do is we're going to divide the field in half, basically. The center and the running back, or the guard and the running back, are going to be kind of, they have the same job on different sides, and you'll see this a little bit more as we get to some of the cut-ups. But basically what we do is when we come to the line of scrimmage, the center, point number 5 here, the center is going to identify the front, okay? And I'll take you through a few of the fronts here in a little bit. And then the running back is going to give a Roger or a Larry call. You don't have to use the words Roger or Larry, right? Anything that symbolizes right or left is fine. And that will tell the center which side of the field the running back is working. And the center will therefore work the other side of the field. Okay, so if you can envision, a balanced defensive front, just envision a 4-4, and the Roger call means the running back is working the linebackers on the right, and the center therefore is working the running back or the linebackers on the left. Excuse me. Okay, now I want to make this point real quick before we move on. You can make this part of your game plan if you want. Okay, so read this sentence right here and underline it. You can have an automatic Roger call every single time if you want, and have your center always work left and your running back always work right. Now, your opponent, if he's good, he might figure that out, but if he's not, he might not, and you might be able to get away with that the entire game. So one solution, especially if you want to play really, really fast and you don't want your center to have to call the front every single time, make an automatic call, right? Running back is always going right, center is always going left. And then at the quarter, switch it, right? Say, okay, guys, hey, we're in a Larry call now, okay? And you can switch it every quarter, you can switch it every series, or you can call it every single play. The downside of calling it every single play is it slows you down a little bit. So if you're trying to play really fast, okay? All right, now number 8. This is really important. We try to account for all 7 defenders. If we're going to have a 7 or even an 8-man box, we try to cover or get a way to account for all 7. Now, obviously, if they bring 7, we only have 6 to block. So we're not going to block them all, but we try to account for them all because most of the time, teams are going to bring 6. And if we have everybody accounted for, then we'll be covered in the case of any blitz scheme, okay? And the way we do that, this is what's unique about our pass protection scheme. The uncover lineman dual reads. Okay, so if it's an uncovered guard or an uncovered center, he is going to dual read. He's going to read 2 linebackers, and that's why I love the vertical set, because as he gets back off the line of scrimmage, he has time to read both of those linebackers and adjust from inside to outside. And I'll show you a few examples of this on the cut-ups, okay? All right, now, if we do get a 5-man, I'll go to number 12 here. If we do get a 5-man front, right, we just make big calls across the line. That means we're 1-on-1, 5-on-5, and the running back is responsible for any blitzing linebacker. Okay? All right, so without further ado, let's go to some of the examples here. So again, this is in your playbook. This is page 95 that I'm on in your playbook. So go there and follow along. Let's start with the most drastic scenarios, the 7-man fronts. Okay? So a 7-man front, a 4-3 or a 3-4 is obviously the most difficult to account for when you have only 6 guys in protection, because they can bring one more than we can protect, okay? So let's look at how we would set up against a true 7-man front. So here we're in a Roger call. So I got my running back on the right-hand side, right, which means the running back is going to start to the right, and he's actually going to read dual read across the formation, but I'll get to that in a second. So against a 4-3, what we want to do is we want to dual read both of the guys that are uncovered. So right now, who is uncovered in this front? Okay, our center's uncovered, right? And we're in a Roger call, which means the center is going to work left, right? So Roger call means the running back's working here, and the center is going to work left side. So he's going to be responsible for here to here, okay? The uncovered center. Now, let's say they were in a one technique. Let's say the nose guard was over top of the center. Now the guard is uncovered, and he's going to dual read the 2 linebackers on the left-hand side, okay? So the way we cover ourselves against a 7-man front is we're going to dual read with our running back across the formation. So he's going to read right to left, starting with the guy on the right and then reading the guy on the left, okay? And we're going to dual read with our center, middle to left. So what does this do, okay? If they bring, let's say they bring the Sam and the Mike, right? We're covered. We got it because the center is reading the Mike first. The running back is reading the Sam first. Let's say they bring the Sam and the Will. We got it because the running back is reading the Sam and the center is dual reading the Mike to the Will, okay? Let's say they bring the Mike and the Will. We got it because the center is reading the Mike first and the running back is reading the Sam to the Will, okay? Now, obviously, if they bring all 3, we're in trouble, but we don't have 7 guys, so we're going to get rid of the football, right? So that is how we set it up in order to make sure that whatever blitz scheme they throw at us, we have enough guys to protect it, okay? So hopefully that makes sense, right? So that's what we do against a 4-3 with a Roger call. Now, obviously, if we had a Larry call, we would flip it, right? And the center would read the right-hand side and the running back would start on the left-hand side. Okay, so that's what it looks like versus a 4-3. So let me go back up here. Our calls would be, the right tackle would say big, 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 okay? The right guard would say big, big, big. Well, let me back up even further. First thing that would happen is the running back would say Roger, 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 okay? And that identifies the fact that he is going to start on this linebacker, okay? Then the right tackle would say, big, big, big. The right guard would say, big, big, big. The center would point out his Mike backer, okay? And he would probably point up 2 fingers, one at the Mike and one at the Will. The guard would say big, the tackle would say big, and we're ready to go. Okay, so those are our calls across the line of scrimmage. We got everybody taken care of, okay? Now, there's some other scenarios that can happen, right? What if they walk the Will up on the line of scrimmage pre-snap, okay? Or what if they walk him up in the B gap pre-snap, okay? In those situations, we can make a bump call, and we can say bump, 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 right? And that means that we're going to bump everybody out 1 man. Everybody's going to go man on man. And if the running back, if he sees that, so let's say the Will walks up in the B gap right here, okay? And we call bump, bump, bump. The running back will now adjust, and he will read Sam to Mike. Okay, so those are some game plan scenarios, but the basic idea is you are going to put your running back responsible for 2 backers and your center responsible for 2 backers. Okay? All right, let's scroll up here. Let's go to a different look. Here's the same look. Again, I put both in your running back or in your playbook just so you could let your running backs and your centers know that it can be Roger or Larry. So here's an example of a Larry call. But let's keep going, okay? Let's look at one of the more trendy defenses in high school football, right? The 3-4. So they're going to play around with these outside dudes, right? And they're going to send blitzes off of your slot, right? And they're going to roll safety over top. This is a very, very trendy defense, especially against spread fronts, because they can still bring 7, but they can align in a 5-man box basically, and then still bring guys. Okay, so let's look at how we protect against a 3-4. Now, remember, our same rules apply. Our uncovered linemen are going to dual read. So in a 3-4, a true 3-4, who are uncovered? Our guards are our uncovered guys. Okay, so our guards are going to be in dual read scenarios where they're going to read the what we call the jack, but the middle backer to the Sam. Okay, so our right guard is in a dual read here because he's uncovered. So we're going to come to the line of scrimmage. The center is going to say, hey, 3-4, 3-4. The running back is going to say Roger, Roger, and the guard is going to know he's in a dual read scenario. Okay, both guards because they are uncovered. Okay, the running back, again, he's starting Roger, and then he is going to check across the formation if his backer doesn't come. Okay. The right tackle's big, the center's big, the left tackle's big. Okay, so we're big, big, and we're dual reading here with both of our guards and with our running back. So let's see why this covers us and how this protects us. Remember, if they send this Sam, let's say they send the jack and the Sam. Okay, so they're going to run a field blitz. Maybe they're going to drop this backside end like they do in college all the time, right? So they're going to bring these two backers. Well, we're covered because our running back is starting on the Sam, our guard is starting on the jack. Okay, let's say that we have the running back in a free release situation. Okay, and they want to bring a guy off the edge. We're still covered, right? Because our guard is going to read the jack to the Sam, right? Backside, let's say they're going to bring the Mike and the Will, right? Well, our guard is going to read the Mike, and the running back, after he checks the Sam, is going to check across the formation for the Will. Okay, so we're covered in every single scenario, but you have to let your linemen that are uncovered, you have to teach them to dual read. Okay, that's really important. So if you teach your guys to dual read and you teach them these protection schemes, you're going to be covered against every single front. Okay, all right. Let's scroll down here. So there's 3-4 again. Let's look at more of a basic front, right? A 6-man front, right? 6-man box, probably the most common front you're going to see against your spread formations. Let's look at how we would protect a 6-man box. Okay, so first of all, we're in a Larry call here. Okay, so our running back is on the left-hand side. That means he's going to be responsible for the Sam backer. Okay, now again, we're calling this a 4-2. If this was a true 4-4, we'd have another backer out here, and the running back would dual read, right? Sam to outside guy, jack or whatever you want to call him. Okay, that means if our running back's going to work left, our center is going to work right. Now, because we only have one threat here, okay, against a 4-2. We can double team and we can kind of dual read with both of these guys, right? The center doesn't have to worry about getting deep so he can get the Will or an edge rusher. So what we can do against a 4-2 is we can double team the nose. We're both retreating, right? We're going to double team that nose, and both of us are going to eyeball the Will, okay, wherever that guy goes. So if he blitzes inside, the center will come off. If he blitzes outside, the guard will come off, okay? So the calls across the line, we come up to the line of scrimmage. The center would call at the front. He'd say 4-2 nickel, 4-2 nickel. And the running back would say Larry, Larry, which means he's responsible for this backer. And then the center and the guard would communicate double team. Okay, whatever your call is for double team, right? We just say double. So double, double. That means they have the nose to the Will. Okay, and then we're big here, and we're big here, and we're big here. Okay, so what I like to teach when we're first teaching this stuff is I want to hear every single lineman say a call across the formation. So they say, so we would get a Larry call, and then we'd be big, big, double, big. Okay. So again, 4-2, it's a pretty simple protection scheme because we have 6 guys and they can only bring 6 guys. So we have everybody accounted for in this scenario. Okay. All right. Let's look at the 4-4. Okay. This is an 8-man front, right? So we're drastically outnumbered, but if we protect it correctly, we can still protect ourselves against the most common blitzes that teams are going to send. Okay, so let's look at 4-4. So we're in a Roger call here. So we're going to come to the line of scrimmage. Center's going to say 4-4, 4-4. Or maybe you just have it in your game plan that this is what they do. They run a 4-4. Running back's going to say Roger, Roger. Okay, that means he is going to work the two backers on the right-hand side, inside to out. Okay, Mike's obviously the most dangerous. He's our first threat. Will is our second threat. Okay, the center here is covered, right? So we got a one technique. Our guard is our uncovered guy. So he's going to dual read. Okay, so really it just depends on how they're going to play this nose. If they play him more in a 2-eye or even a head up, okay, then we will dual read with our center. But here the center's covered, right? It's a one technique, so we're going to dual read with our uncovered lineman. So Roger call means Mike to Will, and for the guard, he's going to read Sam to strong safety. Okay, we're big here, we're big here, we're big here, we're big here. We're dual reading with our guard and our running back, and that protects us against almost any kind of blitz. Now, if they send two guys from the weak side, okay, right? I mean, we got to get rid of the football because they're bringing more than we can block, right? So if they send the Sam and they send the strong safety, we got to get rid of the football, right? That's the numbers game of running a spread system. But we're protected if they only send one of these guys, right? If they only send the Mike, or if they only send the Will, or if they only send the strong safety and they're going to bring a 5 or a 6-man pressure, we're going to be protected. Okay, obviously if they overload us, right? If you trust your running back, you could tell him to read inside to outside to cross the fields, but that's a lot, right, for a high school kid to do. I don't like to give him more than 2 reads on a play. So if you give him inside to out and then you think he can get back to the strong safety, you can do that, but quite honestly, I'd rather just get rid of the football a little bit quicker against a 4-4. Okay, so that's what it looks like against a 4-4, okay, with a Roger call. All right, let's scroll up. There's the 4-4 against the Larry call, so you can look at that as well. All right, the 50 front, right, the true 50 front. You have to decide as a game planner, right, as a play caller, what you are going to call this. And it really depends what the Will and the Sam are prone to doing. If they are prone to dropping into the flats, then I would call this a 3-2 box. If they're prone to coming, then I would call it a 50, right? And then I would just go big straight across the formation and let your running back read the 2 inside backers, okay? Now, it really depends on what your opponent is doing. Some weeks they might line up like this, but the Sam is always going to drop to the flats and the Will is always going to come, okay? So you have to look at what your opponent is doing. Simply because they're lining up in a 50 doesn't mean you necessarily want to go big across the entire front, right? You can, but you're going to end up wasting your tackle and your tackle a lot if your Will and your Sam are dropping, right? So really, watch the film really quick and figure out what they're trying to do with their outside guys. I mean, you're protected either way, but I always like to have, if possible, I like to have my 5 linemen being the ones responsible for protection. So if they're only going to bring 5 guys and they're going to be these 5 interior guys and these outside guys are going to drop, then you can call this a 3-2. But let's look at what it would look like as a 50. So first of all, the running back's going to call Roger, and we're going to get big calls all across the formation. So the nose is going to say big, the center's going to say big on the nose, the guard's going to say big, tackle's going to say big, guard's big, tackle's big, running back is dual reading here. Okay, so that's what it looks like against a true 50. Okay, and here's 50 with the Larry call as well. Okay, the 3-3 stack. Probably the most complex, okay? The most complex of all of the fronts that you're going to see because they can send a million different blitzes, and if they bring out a 3-5, then there's a lot of things that they can do within the context of the game that quite honestly you can't really prepare for all of the combinations, right? I mean, because they could send the Sam outside and the end inside at the same time sending the Mike here and the nose here. They could loop, right? They could cross. They could do X stunts. There's a million different things, so that's why I like to have rules that are in place for a 3-3 stack, and that way whatever they send at us, we're protected. So we should always be protected here because they got 6 guys and we got 6 guys. So let's look at how to protect against a 3-3 stack. Okay, what we're going to do is we're going to double team the stacks. Okay, so our double teams look like this. Basically, our tackle and our running back become a team of 2. Our guard and our center become a team of 2. And our guard and our backside tackle become a team of 2. So we want to divide up that 3-3 stack into 3 separate stacks. These 2 guys eyeballing these 2 guys, these 2 guys eyeballing these 2 guys, and these 2 guys eyeballing these 2 guys. So when you break it up like that for your linemen, the 3-3 stack stops being so complex. It's not very difficult. for them to realize, oh yeah, I'm just double teaming with my buddy here. Oh yeah, and I'm just double teaming with my buddy here. And the tackle stays big, and the running back takes care of this linebacker. Pretty easy, actually. So the most complex defense becomes pretty simple when you break it down into 3 separate stacks. Now, they can do whatever they want, right? They can send the Sam outside. They can send the Sam inside. They can send the end outside and the Sam inside. They can send their mic here and their nose here, right? They can even do one of those where they cross the mic and the jack, and we have everything taken care of because we have divided it into 3 separate stacks, okay? Now, it gets a little bit more complex if they're going to start walking backers up pre-snap, okay? So if they're going to say they're going to walk the mic up here pre-snap, then we're going to have to bump with the guard. The guard's going to bump over the nose. The center's going to bump over to the mic, okay? So work on that stuff, but this is the way we align, and we start here, and that way we're protected against anything that they like to do, okay? So that's the 3-3 stack, and here's the 3-3 stack against a Larry call as well, okay? All right, here comes the 3-5. The one where they can send it's kind of like the 4-4. They got 8 guys, so they can send a lot of different combinations. So here's how we do it. Once again, we're going to dual read with our uncovered lineman. Okay, so against a 3-5, our guard is going to be uncovered, right? So he's going to read jack to Will. Our center and our right guard here, because we're in a Roger call, are going to double team the stack just like they do in a 3-3. And then our play side, our running back side, we're going to read inside to out with our running back, and we're going to stay big on our tackle. So that's what it looks like against the 3-5, and that really protects us against anything that they like to do. Now, that's a lot. I just threw at you in about 20 minutes. Here is what I would say. Let me scroll back up here to the objectives of Pass Pro. Don't try to install all of these at once, okay? Pick a front that you're going to see. Maybe you see a lot of 4-3 or you see a lot of 3-5. Pick that and start there, okay? Walk through these things. Once your offensive line starts to figure out the concept that when they are uncovered, they are going to dual read, right? So once they start to figure that out, this is going to become a much easier these concepts are going to become much easier. And most of us are going to see, 1 or 2 fronts every week. There's not a lot of teams that are going to bounce from a 4-4 to a 3-5 to a 3-3 to a 4-2. We're going to see 1 or 2 fronts every week, which will give us an opportunity to prepare for them. Okay, so all of that being said, I hope I helped answer some of your questions. We're going to go to a few cut-ups, and we're going to see what this dual read looks like and how to adjust to a couple different defensive fronts. So thank you guys for watching. Let's continue on. We'll go look at some cut-ups. Okay, let's look at a couple examples here. So let's start with a 3-4. Okay, now this is a pretty obvious 3-4 situation, right? We can count all the linebackers. We can count the linemen. We're covered up at the center by the nose guard. We're covered up in the tackles. We're covered up on the the right tackle, and we got 4 linebackers across the formation. All right, so pretty standard 3-4, and obviously this is something you would game plan for. This is something that your lineman would recognize, and you can have your center call it when you come right up to the line of scrimmage, or it can just be standard and everybody can know, hey, this is what these guys play, and we're used to it. So let's talk pass protection. We just went through this, but let's review. Our uncovered linemen are going to be our dual read guys. So we'll start with our guard, right? We're going to read inside backer to outside backer, and we're going to read inside backer to outside backer. Okay, so we are dual reading with our uncovered lineman. We're also dual reading with our running back. He's in a Roger call scenario, so he's going to read inside to outside as well. Okay, so we have everybody taken care of. Sorry for all those lines, that's kind of confusing. We have everybody taken care of because we are dual reading with our uncovered guys. Okay, then we're going to be big here, we're big here, and we're big here. So those will be our calls across the line of scrimmage. Now, as I let this play, what I want you to watch specifically, watch the head of this guard. Now, this is not an incredibly athletic kid, right? He's a big kid, but he's taught well. As he vertical sets, he is going to eyeball here to here, and he's going to kick out and pick up the blitzer off of our slot receiver. So let's let this play, and I just want to make a few comments about how he's been taught. Watch that guard. See that? Watch that guard again. Right? That is how you protect a 7-man front with only 6 guys. You dual read with these uncovered linemen. Now, Had this guy come, again, watch his head, right? As we let this thing play. Watch that head, right? He's looking inside. He knows 51 right now is not coming, so he's going to adjust, and he's going to kick out and pick up that blitzer, right? So that's a great job by our guard of doing exactly what he was taught. Now, we don't complete this ball, right? There's nobody open, but we do a great job of dual reading, and therefore a quarterback has the opportunity to step up, right? Step up in the pocket. And if there's somebody open right here, we can make that throw, right? Because we dual readed and we picked up the entire dual read. Can't speak, obviously. And we picked up the entire blitz because we are utilizing our uncovered lineman to do so. Okay, so that's what that dual read looks like. Now, let's go back to, remember, we're dual reading with both guys. So let's talk about our right guard, right? He is doing the exact same thing. He's going to read inside to outside. Now, they don't bring pressure, but I want you to watch his head. Watch this guard right here. Watch his head. It's on a swivel because he knows he's responsible here and he's responsible here. So watch his head. He's on a swivel. He's looking. He's looking. He can't find anybody, so he goes, helps the nose. Helps on the nose. Helps his buddy out. Helps the center. In college, we used to call this getting ribs, right? Get in there, get a punch on that guy's side, slow him down for the rest of the game. But I love his head here because he knows his responsibilities. He's uncovered. We're getting versus a 3-4 front. He is going to read inside to outside. So once again, watch this guard's head and just watch how he's on a swivel and he's looking. He's looking. He's like, I got that linebacker. I got that linebacker. They don't come. I'm going to go help out my buddy. Okay? So again, we don't necessarily have success throwing the football here, but we have everybody taken care of. We have everybody protected. And as long as we get somebody open in the passing game, you're going to be able to protect against all of their blitzes versus a 3-4. Okay? So there we go. Dual reads versus a 3-4. That's what it looks like. Show this to your linemen, right? Teach your guys this is what it looks like to kick back, to keep your head on a swivel, and to pick up that outside blitzer. All right, here we go. We got another example. Now we're looking at a 4-3. Okay, so another 7-man front, and we have to figure out how to protect against a 7-man front. So remember what we just talked about. Our center against a 4-3, our center is going to work opposite our running back. Okay, so it really depends on what the running back calls here. Now I want to make a point. Just because your running back lines up on the right doesn't mean you have to make a Roger call. He can read across the formation, that's fine. But in this situation, we're in a Roger call. Okay, so our running back, because we're in a Roger call, is going to read, and we're in a 4-3, he's going to read this linebacker, and then he is going to come back and read across the formation of that linebacker. So he's going to dual read outside to outside against a 4-3. Okay? Our center, because we're in a Roger call, our center is going to read here to here. Okay, so we have every blitz taken care of, and then all of our linemen are big across the formation. Okay, so that is our protection scheme against a 4-3. Now, in this play, they actually don't blitz, but the reason I put this one in, I want you guys to watch the center. Watch his head and watch how he knows exactly what his responsibility is versus this defensive front. So I'm going to let this play. I want you to watch the center's head. So right now, they could bring 7. I mean, they are, they're within 2 and 3 yards of the line of scrimmage. They could bring all 7 of these guys. We don't know right now what they're going to do. All we know is we're in a Roger call. We're reading here to here with our running back. We're reading here to here with our center. And if they bring all 7, we got to get rid of the football. They only end up bringing 4. They only bring the down guys, but watch the center. Watch his head. This is great. Watch the center's head. Watch him. Just watch the center. That's it. Look at this guy. Okay, he's dropping back. He's eyeballing backers. He's like, I got my backers. I got my backers. Oh, I'm going to get somebody else because I have help. Now we dropped the ball. Bummer. Wide open too. But this is what you got to teach your guys to do, right? Look at his head right now. He's staring at this backer because he knows that's his first read. That guy doesn't come, so his head gets on a swivel. Well, my next read is this guy. And then, well, he doesn't come either, so I'm just going to help out and I'm going to get somebody. If you teach your uncovered lineman to behave like this, you're going to have protection all day long. Right? Because they can't send a blitz that you can't protect if your guy knows his job and keeps his head on a swivel. Okay? Now, the other thing that this protection scheme allows you to do is it lets you get your running back out, right? There's other ways to protect. I mean, you can slide protect and have your running back pick up an edge. That's how we actually protected our spread game in college, right? Everybody slid right, and then the running back picked up the backside edge. Well, the problem with that is you don't ever get your running back out into the route, and this is one of your best athletes. If you have a man protection scheme where you dual read guys, you can get your running back out into protection. So watch this. I want you to watch the running back here. Remember, what's his responsibility? He's going to read here, then he's going to read here, and if he doesn't have either of those guys coming, he's going to get into his route, okay? So let's see how he does. Watch this running back here. Watch his head. Bam. He knows his guys aren't coming. I'm into my route right now. That's how quick it can be, right? He just does a quick little look, right? I look there, nobody comes, I'm out, right? And that's how you get your running back out into the route, and you don't waste him picking up an edge where there's no rusher coming. Okay, so it's a great example of identifying who we have to protect. And, they don't bring a blitz here, but we have everybody taken care of because our head's on a swivel and we're doing our job. All right, let's look at another example. Here we go. We got a 4-4 here, right? One of the most difficult fronts to protect against, with 6 guys in protection, because they could bring all 8 right now if they wanted to, right? So let's go through our rules. In this situation, we're actually reading across the formation here. We got a Larry call here. In this game, what we actually did was they brought most of their blitzes from the field, and we wanted to get our running back into protection. So we read into the boundary, no matter where we were at. We read into that boundary. So we're on the left hash, so we're reading Larry here, which means we are in a Larry call without even having to say it, right? So we can just come up to the line of scrimmage. We know we're into the boundary with our running back. That means our center is going against a 4-4. He's going to work opposite. So let's go through our rules again. Remember, our uncovered lineman, which in this case is our center, is going to dual read. So against a 4-4, his dual read is here to here, okay? And really important that he gets depth so that he can read both of those linebackers and see which one comes. Our running back is going to read inside to out, okay? So we have all 4 linebackers accounted for. And obviously, if they bring 2 to one side, we got to get rid of the football. But we have all 4 guys accounted for because we're dual reading with our uncovered lineman and with our running back. Okay? Then we are going to be big here. We're going to be big here. We're going to be big here. And we're going to be big here. Okay? So the backside, what's nice is the linemen that are into the boundary, they really don't have to worry about anything. They're just one-on-one with their man. They don't have to worry about blitzes or stunts or anything like that. They're one-on-one blocking their guy all night long if you're into the boundary. If you decide, if you get a team that's going to send a lot of field blitz, okay? So let's check this out and let's see how we did. So our center is really the guy we want to watch for, right? Everybody else's job is pretty easy, but the center and the running back are the guys that kind of have a little bit of a difficult job against a 4-4. So let's watch the center, all right? So we can see we're getting blitz, okay? And the center right now, because he has his head up, he realizes this is his number 1 read. That's his first blitz guy. And so he's going to have to get vertical and kick out in order to pick that guy up. But it's not that difficult, right? You see what the vertical set does? Because we're in the gun, and a lot of people, when you draw this up on the chalkboard, they're like, well, that's not going to work. But it does work. Look at the center. That's easy, right? He gets out there no problem because he recognizes it and he knows his responsibility and he gets out. So what I find, you can do other things here. You can bump everybody over. But what I find is, a man protection scheme where everybody knows their guy just makes it a lot easier on your offensive linemen, right? There's less to remember. There's less communication that has to happen. So right now the center knows that guy's coming. He's going to get depth. Now what actually ends up happening here, this is interesting. What ends up happening here is our right tackle actually ends up taking the blitzer because the defensive end doesn't come very hard. And so our right tackle, he's just playing football here, right? The guy basically runs into him. So watch our right tackle here. Guy basically runs into him, and so he just takes him. And then our center, because he has depth and he knows, well, this was my guy, now I'll take this guy instead. So it's not something we practiced. It's not something that is part of the scheme. But what happens is the right tackle gets his depth. Nobody blitzes, nobody rushes into him, so he just takes the guy that hits him in the face. But what I want you guys to really notice is how the center here identifies. He knows it's a 4-4, and he knows that's his guy. So I'm going to get depth. And I'm going to get out there, make sure I can pick that guy up, right? And by doing that, we have plenty of time to throw the football. We have a nice completion. Now, you could also identify this as a 4-2. If it's a 4-2, the jobs are even easier, right? Then the center isn't really dual reading. He's just reading one backer. And the running back isn't dual reading either. He's just reading one backer. So depending on what you want to call this, a 4-2 or a 4-4, we called it a 4-4 because sometimes they'd bring this guy too, right? And sometimes they'd bring this guy too. So we called it a 4-4, but you could call this a 4-2 as well. Either way, the idea is that the center gets depth, keeps his head on a swivel, and eyeballs that linebacker, right? And that's how you have protection. Now let's watch our running back as well. I want you to see his head, what he does, and how he's able to get into his route if he doesn't have a blitzer. See that? Really good job. Okay, teach your running backs to do that. He can actually be even a step quicker here, but you can see where his eyes go. Initially, he goes there, and then when that guy doesn't come, he gets right out into his route. Okay, so he checks inside to outside because he knows his reads, and then he gets into his route, and that way we can throw him the football in the check down as well. Okay, so again, an example of how to protect against a 4-4 with the spread set. You account for all 8 guys, and if everybody's dual reading when they're supposed to, you're going to be covered. So let's look at one more example. Here is a 3-3 stack. Now we could have identified this as a 3-4, but against this opponent, we're calling this a 3-3. So let's look at how to work the stacks against a 3-3. Remember, our rule against a 3-3, we're going to divide these stacks up into 3 double teams. So our tackle is going to be big here, and our running back is going to be responsible for this guy. Okay. Our guard and our center are going to work this stack, the mic and the nose. And then our right tackle and our right guard are going to work this stack, the defensive end and the outside backer. Okay, so we have 3 double teams across their defensive front, and we should be able to pick up everything they throw at us. So let's start with this double team, the tackle and the running back. Especially I want you to watch what the running back does here, because remember, this is a 3-3. They can send a million different blitzes here. They can loop, they can cross, they can walk guys up, drop guys. There's a million different things they can do, and you'll drive yourself crazy trying to draw it all up on scout cards. But if you have simple rules that your guys can follow and they know how to work their stacks, you're going to pick everything up, right? So let's start with our running back and let's eyeball that linebacker right there. Let's see how he does. Okay, so they're walking guys around. Our running back knows he has that stack, and they loop him through the A gap, but we still pick it up, right? So that's really important, right? If you're working your stack, it doesn't matter where that linebacker goes, we're going to be able to pick that up, okay? So really good job by the running back of sticking with his stack. Let's watch him one more time. Watch that running back. He sticks with his stack. He eyeballs his guy, and he picks him up, right? So we have time to step up and get rid of the football. All right, let's look at our other stacks. Center and guard. This one is common, right? We're going to get a slant by the nose, and they're going to loop the mic through. So let's see how the center and the guard work that double team here. I know it's kind of crowded in there. Our splits aren't very good in this game, but let's watch our center and our guard pass off this looper here. See that? First of all, I want you to notice how the center gets depth, right? That's key, right? First of all, if you're getting depth, you have time to sort stuff out. So he does a really nice job of that. And as soon as he sees that nose disappear, right? The nose here slants. We know we got help because our guard is with us working our stack. The looper's coming, and we're going to pick that looper up. Okay, so really good job of those 2 guys working their double team, sticking with their rules. Okay, one more time, let's watch it. Slant here, looper by the linebacker, the center and the guard do a great job picking it up. Really good, right? So that's how to work that stack in the 3-3. Now let's look at the final stack. The right guard and the right tackle. Let's see how they do. Right? Right guard, awesome job. I love that. I give him a plus for that because look, here's his job. He's responsible for this stack. So if this linebacker doesn't come, he's free and he can help double team on the nose or help double team on the defensive end. And instead of just standing there, watch what the right guard does, right? He knows his backer's not coming. So he gets in there, gets part of a double team. Pretty nice job. As a result, we have time to step up and throw the football and get a big play. Okay, so that's what it looks like to pick up blitz against a 3-3 stack. And again, let me continue to emphasize, don't focus so much. Don't draw up a million different scout cards with all of the different combinations. Give your guys rules and then let them work those double teams, and you'll be able to pick up all of the stunts versus that front. All right, so I hope you guys got something out of this video. I hope that helps you with your pass protection schemes. Always feel free to send me a video, or send me an email at eric@winwiththepass.com, and I'll see you guys soon.